Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehakol nהיה b'dvaro. L'chaim v'livracha. To life and to blessings. L'chaim. We're coming from the holiday of Shavuos, giving of the Ten Commandments. We once again gathered, men, women, and children, as originally every single soul was there. In the year 2448, since creation, in the year 3,337 years ago, as 2.5 million Jewish people were at foot of Mount Sinai. And the truth is, all souls, future souls that would be born were there. Not only of future souls, but even converts that would only convert later. But they have inside of them the spark of a Jewish soul before they convert. And they were there too. The truth is, the convert and someone who wasn't a convert were the same at that moment, because we all became converts. What does it mean we all became converts? Is we were then, when God gave the Ten Commandments, that's when we were imbued with the Jewish soul at that moment. Because only God could give the Jewish soul. It's true the Jewish soul came as a result of the patriarchs, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their wives, the matriarchs, that they were holy people. But they merited that their descendants would be given a Jewish soul. And that was given at Sinai. And hence everybody was a convert, including Moses himself. Because then imbued with that indelible mark that defines who you are, it cannot be changed. Once you have a Jewish soul, that is who you are, period. And there's no such thing as, converting out. Now, someone can deny, person can deny their humanness and maybe crawl around like a chicken,
They can identify us.
What?
They can identify us. Doesn't make them.
Exactly. Doesn't make you that. It just means, yeah, precisely. So we all celebrated B'simcha or B'pnimius with great joy and with inward integrity of the integrity of who and what we are. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. L'chaim, everybody, l'chaim. We begin chapter 1 in part 2 of Tanya, Shar Yichud Ve'emunah, the gate of unity, God's unity. How do we understand God as creator? Koyach HaPoel B'nifal, the power of creator within creation. And what is our faith in that? We're going to have an understanding of his unity, but this is what we really believe. So hold on. We're going to do chapter 1 today. Chapter 1 begins with the words from Devarim, from the book of Numbers, that begins, that you should know this day, and you bring it into your heart. What do you need to know and to bring into your heart? What, that it's an important message. Ki Hashem Hu Elokim, because God is mighty and just, the God of Elokim B'Shamayim Ma'alim, God of heavens above, Ve'ala Aretz Mitachazin, upon the earth below, and then there's no other. So simply put, to understand this simply, it means that there is no other God, not in the heavens above and not in the earth below. Ask the Alter Rebbe, do we really have to take this so much to heart? Like, I know this day, take it to heart. What, that there's no God dwelling in the waters below the earth? We have to, it sounds a little much of what we need uh, to take note of. Heavens above, maybe you might think, but like below, deep down in the earth, in the in the water canals below, there's no God there. Make sure you take that to heart. So we're going to have a whole different understanding of what this means. Whole different understanding. And it will begin with what it says in Tehillim and Psalms. It says, forever, God, your word stands in the heavens, stands firm in the heavens. God, your word stands firm in the heavens. And the Baal Shem Tov, who yesterday was his Yortzeit, his day of passing, the founder of the Hasidic movement, that he says, your word, God, your word, right? Your word that stands firm in the heavens, right? As King David said. So he explained what that means. That your word, meaning the word that you said in Genesis, let there be a firmament in the midst of the heavens, those very words, those very letters, as we will understand, not just the word, but the very letters themselves. They stand firmly forever in the heavens above. They're forever clothed in the heavens. Those letters that make up those words that give existence and vitality to the heavens above. Likewise, it's written, as we say in our morning prayers, that God, your words live and stand forever. What does that mean exactly? What does it mean that they stand forever? Meaning that if they were to depart for even an instance, God's word from the firmament, right, that he's giving vitality to, then the heavens above, what would happen to them? They would crumble? They would crumble? They would crumble down to earth? What would happen to them? Oh, they would no longer exist. Not they would crumble and they become, whatever, or they become gaseous and they'll take flights, No, no, no. They will go back as if they never existed. Wow. Now, okay, that's about the firmament. How about everything else in creation? Exactly the same thing. If God were to take away the word from this cup, it goes back not to becoming energy. Oh, take away the physicality, so it's not matter. It'll turn to energy. After all, E equals mc squared. But energy is also something. It's also a creation of God. So the physical earth will be completely, right, which is inanimate, it will become naught. nothing, no thing, right? It will go back the way it was before creation, which we don't know what that means. We can't fathom that, right? But before God uttered the 10 utterances of creation, what was there? Only God, right? And as the Arizal explains, the 16th century Kabbalist, that a stone, Evan in Hebrew, or earth or water, right, they're inanimate, but they also have a soul. Not just animals and humans have a soul, they have a soul too. And the soul of it is from the utterances of God, that the letters, the words that create something out of nothing, of no thing. Because before creation there was no thing, and now with the utterance there is a something. So it would go back to its utterance of nothing. Now, if you look into the story of creation in Genesis, you'll see 10 utterances. So you'll see that the earth sprout forth vegetation, animals, being created, fish, the sun and the moon being placed in its position, and so on. But you don't see the word stone, Evan. So where does it get its vitality from? It says Shemish, it says Yareach, sun and the moon. It says herbs and grass. It says about animals. It doesn't say specific animal, the species of animals, right? So it's not recorded there. The word Evan, stone. So where does it come from? So the Alter Rebbe says it comes from those 10 utterances, but by means of combinations and substitutions of their letters. For example, you can take a hey and substitute it for an aleph, because they're letters that are articulated with the same organ of speech. Or let's say an ayin with a ches, because they're both guttural sounds. Ayin and ches, they're guttural. So they have a relationship between each other. So you can now substitute one letter for another. And as a matter of fact, you take the whole Hebrew aleph base, right? You have 22 letters. 22 letters, a word is made up of 2 letters minimum. So like the word av is aleph base. Backwards, it's ba, come, right? Base aleph. So if you take all 22 letters times 21 to make a word that is can be a vital force of creating something, you get 231. Actually, the truth is you get 462, but then you get them backwards and forward because you're going to get doubles, right? Um, so direct and reverse order you get, which means all the combinations of the Hebrew alphabet, they come because in the 10 utterances you have all of the letters. You can now substitute letters. You can mix and match letters. All created things come from there. So for example, fire is not written in 10 utterances, right? Fire actually was discovered. Sun and moon wasn't discovered. It's there. Vegetation wasn't discovered. Water wasn't discovered. It was there. But fire was discovered, right? Where does it come from? Aish. Aleph from or, from light, and the shin from shemish, from sun. Light and sun creates fire. right? That's where it comes from. Now, this is unique to the Holy Tongue, that the very letters in the speech descend degree by degree from the 10 utterances as they're recorded in the Torah in these various combinations, substitutions, or even grammatical, or even gematria, numeric value. All of that is the vital force of bringing into creation, bringing into being, and giving its vital force to everything in creation. It is a metaphor to understand how the light and energy of God is being contracted. So you have those things that are 10 utterances that are things that are there forever, like the sun and the moon, animal kingdom, vegetation. But a specific animal, a specific vegetation is not eternal and could become distinct, extinct, extinct, not distinct. Can be distinct, but distinct, extinct, right? Why? Because the particular animal is a particular word that is its vital force, its Hebrew name that it is called. As that power comes through the Torah, which the 10 utterances are there in the Torah, that creates everything ex nihilo, something from nothing, as there was nothing before God created the world, and then he made from a no thing, he made a something, right? Called a book, called a cup, kos, sefer, right? Evan, a stone. All that comes from the word that is not arbitrary, very specifically tailored for that particular creation, as opposed to English or any other language is completely arbitrary. That a cup is a cup and a toothpick is a toothpick, right? Or a table is a table. Cup, we could have called a cup a table and a cup a table and a table a cup. Completely arbitrary. Now, maybe we took it from another language, which, yes, but that was all arbitrary, right? From the other language. And it was arbitrary to take that language, taken from another language, because English actually is made up of from German, Latin, uh, French, right? So that's all arbitrary, but not in the Hebrew language. The word is its vital force, is its creative force. Words matter in the Hebrew tongue, in the holy tongue. They're the vital force that creates everything. Powerful. Any questions? Fine. This is very, what's the word? Um, Abstract idea, but this is going to give us an understanding of God and the creative power of God in creation, to be able to understand how we have a world. And we're going to understand it with Chabad, with wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, like intellectually. In the end, this is very much what we call our faith, because can't put this under a microscope and see or see this with your physical eye. We can understand the concept. It's rational, but it's not. It's rational, but it's not like something that I perceive with my eyes or hear it with my ears or experience it. I'm not experiencing this truth in that sense, right? Although it's rational, it is what we call our faith.
It becomes maybe rational after the fact, after we heard it. It makes sense. But this
Right,
is something that we would naturally have thought of on our own.
exactly. And could you argue to say it differently? Yeah, you could. And in that sense, it's not necessarily, um, you know, I don't know if you could call you would call it provable, right? But rational it is. I would suggest it's a lot more rational than evolution, much more rational, I would suggest. Um, and much more reasonable. We'll get that into another time. Okay, we're going to do Rambam now, doing the laws of forbidden foods. We did forbidden relations, now it's forbidden foods. The path on how to be holy. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you Tanya Havana